When I was a child, it was great to see a new school coming up, or the potential of a new school coming up. But now, they're building more prisons than schools. The community and society has invested so much money into the prison system that the schools don't stand a chance. So it's so many knives being jabbed at the children that it's like they don't know which way to turn. It's nobody there for them like it was when I came up. When I came home, my mother, my grandmother, somebody was there. Now most children of the day, they go home to themselves.
For the most part, by the time our young people get into middle school, they're already behind. All of the research shows this. There's no reason why individuals from minority communities, from African American communities, and Latino communities, Mexican American communities should enter a kindergarten, first grade, and so on and so forth in a public school system. And then by the time they're supposed to be getting into middle school in the 6th grade, are already 1 or 2 years behind.
Me coming up, going through high school, the support was there. I had a mom and a dad. I had grandparents, cousins. But the main thing about when I went to high school that the students don't have this right now, well, everybody in the community was concerned about my education. Everybody in the community helped each other. We don't have that help or that type of environment in communities right now.
If you're looking at having children learn basic essentials early on before they get to school, they're going to perform better in school. And the better they perform, the more successful they're going to be. And the more successful, then the better the chances are that they will graduate successfully and go on to college. And we need children to come into this world and to be exposed to early education early on. And once they do this, then I think we're going to change the overall attitude of our next generation. And once our generation understands that education is a fundamental, basic, absolutely necessary need in order to be successful in this country, then I think we're going to make every effort to see that every child gets an adequate education.
The public school system has got to change, and that we need to desperately redistribute resources somehow to these public school systems so that these individuals, particularly those that come from backgrounds with very little money, who come from challenging backgrounds, need to have that extra help.
Well, I think when it comes to kids nowadays, with lack of family support, with lack of healthy, positive role models, it really becomes the job of the community to help raise the children. And that will run the gamut of services, basically. We're talking about educational support, we're talking about social support, we're talking about peer support that needs to come from within the community to be able to allow these children to grow up to be positive, contributing citizens in their community.
I think we still have to have the old saying that it takes a village to raise a young person. And for the simple reason that there are many things that encompass the young people today. Most homes are one single parent home, and predominantly that's the mother. There are 2 family homes that maybe the students are separated at some point in their life. Most of the students that I talk to, they really are smart young people. They don't have the help that they need. And the biggest help that they need is, first of all, they want to work, they want a job, and that to me is fine. But they need to be explained that you have to have an education to get that type of a job.
when I grew up in my little town, the people that came before me, they knew how important education was. And the people that were surrounding you knew how to stir you or try to help you lay your foundation towards education because they knew that was the only way out. One thing I look at today that's different, we spread it out. We spread it ourselves out so thin that it's hard to find those role models that we had.
When we start to examine the mass media, quite obviously we have to do a worldview analysis. Because when you listen to the major music that you listen to, not all rap music, quite obviously, we're not here to indict all of rap music, but specifically gangster rap. Again, we can do a worldview analysis because when we look at gangster rap specifically, not all rap music, quite obviously it glorifies the basic tenets of the European worldview: consumerism, materialism, and individualism. These are the major ideas undergirding gangster rap music, if you will. And so quite obviously, mass media supports that.
Media has a tendency to focus on those things which are capable of grabbing the attention. They don't necessarily function on the most relevant and those things which are geared to make a positive or a relevant difference in the lives. But if it's something that will alter your thinking, i.e., how much you can get from crime, they don't just make it possible for youngsters to understand that everything that is in the limelight is not necessarily positive.
The part that really hurts minorities is always the negativity, not the good stuff that happens at midnight basketball or some of the organizations that go on in the city, the Riverside Youth Foundation, things like that, or the things that they do. Lance Armstrong's foundation, they do a lot of things in the community. But for minorities, it's always going to be on the negative side more so first than the positive side.
Everybody trying to get ratings. So everybody got to outdo the next person. If you selling the hip hop, calling the women out of their name, then if the ratings is high, well, I got to do it. It gives a kid an idea that I got to act a fool, or I got to be that, I got to be funny. Yes, it makes an impact on the youth. So if all you hear is negative things, and all your lyrics is shoot 'em and calling the women different things, and well, you're gonna feel it. I felt it when I was singing My Girl, trying to talk to a girl about lyrics. So yeah, you feel it, and then you eventually wants to feel like that's a part of your life.
On a regular basis, systematically in this country, portray minority youth as being thugs, as being gang members, as having no values or very little positive values, when in reality, I think the complete opposite is true. I think in reality, our communities are no different from other communities that want to do things good for themselves. Mothers and fathers work hard to try to help their kids under the circumstances that they find themselves in. And I think that the mass media has done a big number on this community. And it's scared, I think, many mainstream people in this country because it has convinced them that minority youth are not worth investing in. When, as a matter of fact, the answer to many of the future problems and current situations that are negative in our country should be solved and will be solved if given the opportunity to minority youth in this country.